David R. here. Today I'm going to talk to you about this book, Negotiating for Dummies by Michael C. Donaldson. Before I get started, I'm going to show you the contents at a glance. Part 1, preparing to negotiate. Knowing what you want, knowing the marketplace, setting goals. Part 2, getting your point across. Listening, asking the right questions, listening to body language. Part 3, getting past the glitches to close it up. Pushing the pause button to turn off the hot buttons. Closing the deal. Part 4, conducting cross-cultural and complex negotiations, like international negotiating, negotiating with the opposite sex. Part 5, the part of 10s, 10 personality traits of top negotiators. If you're short on time and you really want to get to the heart of the book, use the cheat sheet. Tear it out or do whatever. But this will give you everything that you need. I mean, sure, I recommend reading the book, but like I say, if you're short on time and you just want to take a shortcut, go for the cheat sheet. That's what I'm going to talk about right now. So let's look at the 6 basic skills of negotiating. The skills you need to be a successful negotiator in your everyday life are the same skills powerful business people use during major international and industrial negotiations. 1, thorough preparation. Prepare yourself, research your opponent, research your industry. 2, the ability to set limits and goals. Go into the negotiation with a list of things to achieve. 3, good listening skills. Learn to listen and ask questions. 4, clarity of communication. Know your purpose in speaking. Keep your commitments. If you say you're going to do something, do it. 5, knowing how and when to push your pause button. Never let your emotions take control of your actions. 6, knowing how to close a deal. Regroup with your team when you have to. The next section, the only 3 closing strategies you'll ever need. Everyone seems to be in a search of the perfect close, the one that won't fail. Here's the big secret. The 3 ways to make the sale or to successfully close the negotiation are ask, ask, ask. Ask whether your counterpart will agree to the current terms. Being able to clearly state your need helps in every negotiation and in every phase of your life. The next section is asking good questions. Asking a good question is a learned skill requiring years of training. The foundation of good question asking is knowing what information you want to obtain. Here are 7 handy guidelines for asking better questions. Questions that are likely to get to the meat of things. Plan your questions in advance. Prepare what you're going to ask about, but don't memorize the exact wording or you'll sound artificial. A script is too restrictive to flow naturally into the conversation. However, it pays to outline your purpose and a sequence of related questions. Ask with a purpose. Every question you ask should have 1 or 2 basic purposes: to get facts or to get opinions. Know which is your goal and go for it. But don't confuse the 2 concepts. Tailor your question to your listener. Relate questions to the listener's frame of reference and background. If the listener is a farmer, use farming examples. If the listener is your teenager, make references to school life, dating, and other areas that will hit home. Follow general questions with more specific ones. These specific inquiries, called follow-up questions, generally get you past the fluff and into more of the meat and potato information. This progression is also the way that most people think, so you are leading them down a natural path. Keep questions short and clear. Cover only one subject. Ask simple questions. Questions are just a way to lead people into telling you what you want to know. If you really want to know 2 different things, ask 2 different questions. Make transitions between their answers and your questions. Listen to the answer to your first question. Use something in the answer to frame your next question. This approach also sounds more conversational and therefore less threatening. Don't interrupt. Let the other person answer the question. You're asking the question to get answers, so it almost goes without saying that you need to stop talking and listen. This section is called Reading Body Language, but I'm not going to go into that. You can pause the video and see that for yourself. What I want to get into is tips for being clear. Getting results in negotiations has less to do with charisma than with clarity. For best results, take your time. If something is worth saying, it's worth saying clearly. Here are some hints for maximizing clarity. 1. Set the climate. Be sure that you're in a place conducive to concentration at a time when the assistant or coworker can pay attention. Listen to your words as you set the tone. 2. Give the big picture. Describe the overall objectives. People need to see where their part fits into the whole to feel like they are part of the loftier goal. 3. Describe the steps of the task. If the steps are not already written out, have the person write the list as you speak. This effort increases the probability of retention. 4. Cite resources available. Point out where to find other references on the task, if any. Resources include anyone who has completed the task before, a general book on the subject, or a specific manual for your office. 5. Invite questions. Even if you feel like you don't have time to answer questions, the extra attention is worth the effort. Invite questions with open-ended prompting, such as, what questions do you have? Not, you don't have any questions, do you? 6. Get the person to summarize his or her strategy for accomplishing the task. This step takes guts on your part. You risk being answered with a defensive, do you think I'm stupid? Use the sentence, call me compulsive. I need to summarize how you will get this done. When you take responsibility, you reduce defensiveness in the other person. 7. Agree on a date to follow up. The deadline depends on the complexity and value of the task. You may need to take time and practice to develop the fine art of following up without hovering. You greatly increase the chances that the person will meet the deadline if he or she helped to set it. In conclusion, I recommend this book, like I recommend pretty much every book. Well, anyway, that's all I got. Talk to you later. Bye.